Good morning. Good morning. I've always wondered about introductions of the speaker, and I've always wanted to start off with this. David J. Smazik was born at a very early age. There, I got my chance. Joe Potter, David Smazik's administrative assistant, told me to stand up here and be short and not to say anything embarrassing because David is a very private person, which takes out half of what I'm going to say. The truth of the matter is, David Smazik has been a pastor of a number of Presbyterian churches. Westminster, the Presbyterian Church of Fulton, Illinois. He's been the executive director of camps and conferences facilities in Pennsylvania. He has a BA in religion. He has an MDiv, Masters of Divinity from Dubuque Theological College. He has a Masters of Science in Counseling. He has a doctorate in ministry in church revitalization. I'm impressed, David, really impressed. He has served many churches. He's done considerable work when it comes to nonviolence. He's done considerable work when it comes to reconciliation and revitalization. But more important than all that and all the accolades, we have something in common, David. We both married well above our station. He has two wonderful children, Matthew and Allison. David's a good friend, a good man, and more important than that, when it comes to the gospel of Jesus Christ, he lives it by example. He also knows suffering, and he knows joy. He knows joy because he has a brand new grandson, Jackson Bruce, last week. Congratulations. And he knows suffering because he's been a lifelong Cubs fan. No, we share that in common. I've been a lifelong Vikings fan, so we know where we're coming from. The truth of the matter is, I am really looking forward to hearing from my friend, because he lives a Christian life, and because he has made me feel so welcome. I introduce to you David J. Smazik, a friend and a Christian.
I want Jesus to walk with me. I want Jesus to walk with me. While I'm on this pilgrim journey, I want Jesus to walk with me. Well, you walk with my mother. Lord, please walk with me. Then you walk with my father. Lord, walk with me. While I'm on this pilgrim journey, I want Jesus, please walk with me. Nobody but you, Lord. Nobody but you. Nobody
Thank you, Neill, for that very generous introduction. Just a few days ago, I had a conversation with my son, and we had a moment where we looked at each other and we said, should we raise his new son, Jackson, as a Cubs fan? Should we maybe give him the opportunity to experience a winning team? And we decided no and dressed him up in Cubs paraphernalia. I want to thank Dr. Jameson for this opportunity. This is truly, I believe, an honor and a privilege to stand at this place on this day in front of all of you. So thank you very much. When I received the phone call to be here, and by the way, it was rather unique because I was sitting in my office and the phone rang, and I picked up, do you remember these? I picked up this receiver, and it has a cord on it, and it's attached to this unit, and I picked it up, and there was a voice on the other side, and the voice asked me if I would be willing to speak. Now, just a few years ago, I was with a group of 13-year-olds, and I was teaching a class, and I passed out papers to the group, and I was so impressed because they immediately looked down at these papers, and it seemed that they were so intent in what I was teaching. I was so moved, and I was so proud of myself that I had captivated these 13-year-olds until I discovered they were all texting below the table. And then I had to come in every class and start a rule that you had to put your phone in the middle of the table when we started class. And then one of them, just a couple years ago, said, you know, probably about 5 years from now, there's going to be a new invention, and people are going to be able to be excited about, you know, you can pick this thing up and talk to the other person. It's so incredible that you now can talk to a person. And that's what happened to me. I received this call, someone on the other end asking me, would you come and speak at this time to these people? And I have to be honest, my reaction within myself, various dimensions, who I am, was not me. I'm not the one to stand here. So I caught myself, and I didn't blurt that out on the phone, and I said that I'm going to need to get back in touch with you. And I thought about, where was that coming from? Not me. I'm not the one that should be standing here. Well, as I thought it through, first of all, I think it comes from my head, because when I think of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I think about the fact that we share the same vocation, both Christian ministers, and for me to presume that I can stand in front of you and craft some kind of speech that would in some way communicate what he would communicate, that's just not me. And I thought, how can I charge every word with conviction when I hear speeches or sermons of Dr. King, or I read quotes from him? I'm overwhelmed by how every word seemed to be charged with conviction. And I thought, oh, not me. I'm not the one to stand there. And as I reflected further, I thought, it's not just coming from my head, but it's also coming from my heart. And I want to be very honest with you on this morning. And I thought about myself, and I thought, I just don't have the passion that Dr. King exemplified. Where's that passion within my life? And for me, when I think of Dr. King, I so often have an image, and I don't know what it is for you. Maybe it's a quote, and again, there are so many that are just charged with conviction. Maybe it is a speech or a sermon, but for me, when I think of Dr. King, I so often picture him standing. And he's standing with arms locked with others. And they are moving forward. And when you look in his face, and I have this so imprinted in my heart, when you look in his face, there is passion. There is a resoluteness that moves him forward. But I think, where is my passion? Where is my passion to stand for what is right? I would like to just draw your attention to part of one quote from Dr. King. The ultimate measure of man is where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. The ultimate measure of a man is where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. We have tremendous challenges still in our day, but I have to look at myself, I'm being honest here, and say, do I have that kind of passion? Where is that passion? Well, I think finally, as I reflected on where this not me, I'm not the one to stand there, where this was coming from, I had to say maybe it's just how I'm living my life right now. I'm blessed to be here at Morristown and serve a congregation with an incredible history. Now, as Neill referenced, I am a Midwesterner from Chicago, and in the Midwest, we have a different context of history. Sometimes in the Midwest, we talk about something being old and it's 75 or 80 years old, and we think that's a big deal. And you come to Morristown and you discover, wow, there is this sense, this incredible sense of history that shaped the United States of America, and it's overwhelming for a Midwesterner when you come to this area. And in the church I am at, we have this incredible sense of history. And just recently we had a situation where some furniture was moved from the front of the church for a period of time. Now, you know that phrase we sometimes use and say, well, it's been like that for 100 years? Well, some furniture was moved, and all of a sudden, emails started flying around the church, and somebody said that bench had been there for 100 years. And you know what? It had been. It'd been there for 100 years. I look at myself, and I wonder if I look at what others have done that have gone before me, the sacrifices they've made, what they have put in place, the courage they exemplify, and their willingness to move forward, to stand with arms locked, to act on the courage of their passion-fueled convictions. And I look at my life now and wonder if I'm more or less content to sit on the dusty benches and not be willing to stand with courage in my own day. Well, I told you I wanted to be honest about this call that I received, but I believe this is a call that is going out to every one of us in this room. I believe you are receiving this call. And I wonder what you're responding. I wonder how you're responding to the call. I have this, well, it's not a dream, unfortunately, this sinking feeling that as we are all individually and collectively receiving this call, we're responding with, not me. I'm not the one to stand up there. Not me. I'm not the one to stand up. And remember what Dr. King said. The measure of a person is how they stand at times of challenge. The measure of a person. So how do we measure up right now in this Morristown community? What do you say? How are we measuring up when you are being asked, when you're receiving a call, how are you responding? I am very concerned, as I have lived in this community, that we're responding with, not me. Not me. I can't stand. And think about the different dimensions in our life that it's coming from. Our heads, we say, not me. We rationalize why we should not be the person, right? We say that, well, I'm not a Christian minister, I'm not eloquent, I can't put the thoughts together, I don't have the conviction, so we rationalize it away, why it's not me. Or maybe it's from the heart. We just lack the energy anymore. I'm in some organizations and somebody will say, wow, you know, it's a great organization, we don't have any controversy. And I said, I need to correct you, we don't have any energy, that's the problem. Because I think if we have some energy, we have some controversy. We lack the passion. And then I think finally, when the call is coming to you and to all of us, I believe when it comes to our actual living out of our lives, sometimes we want to stand on the shoulders of those that have gone before us. And unfortunately, we don't stand, we sit on the dusty benches, right? We sit and we rest on what's happened, and we lack the courage of our passion-fueled convictions to move out into the challenges of this day. And so when the call comes to you and it's coming personally, this is even a step better than a phone call and a voice. As I stand now looking at you face to face, I am calling you, and what's your response? What's going to be your response? Are we collectively going to continue to say, not me, I'm not the one that's going to stand out, and how are we being measured? How are we being measured by what we have done? What if we had a different response? What if we once again locked arms as a community? We can do this. We can do this. What if again we locked arms and started to move forward? I think of how Dr. King, you know, they were knocked down, but they got back up. They were slowed down, but they kept going. They believed that together as a community, relying on each other, the way they would be measured is to stay there, to be there, to move, to not give up. To realize that we need to stand for what is right with courage at times of challenge and controversy. And also, we understand that we don't do this alone. We have the power from our Creator. As I think of that powerful image of those that were locking arms, there's a quote I like, and it's from Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, very well-known rabbi, and he talks about being with Dr. King and locking arms, and this is what he said: when I marched in Selma, my feet were praying. And I think as we, once again, as a community, answer that call and say, it is all of us together, locking arms with the power of our Creator, understanding that it takes passion-fueled convictions to once again stand with courage. Thank you.